Hey, what is up, guys? It's Giltspire here, and welcome back to Champions of the Fog. Today, I am joined by Gannicus. How you doing today, Gannicus?
I'm doing really good. Oh, it's a little bit chilly over here in this area, but I am excited to warm up with some good Dead by Daylight today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I am quite excited. We are already on round number 5, and today we have Immortal Alliance versus Cerebral Assassins. So, wicked excited for this round. And hopefully you all are too. Today, we're going to be playing on the Groaning Storehouse as well as the Family Estate. What are your initial thoughts here, Gannicus, on these maps?
Honestly, I'm excited to see what happens in Family Estate. I think with the Spirit nerf, Giltspire, I think that's a good Spirit map. I don't like it's always been great. So I think you kind of have to use Spirit nowadays, you know?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about it more and more, and people are in agreement that, you know, Burning Spirit now is probably going to be what we see prior to the 19th. I would be interested to see some teams hold on to it because I'm very curious to see how Spirit plays in comp post nerf versus pre. But I think it's definitely safe to burn Spirit now, as she is as strong as she is, versus when she's going to be a little bit less strong. I think in the overall tier list, I'm placing her probably at like bottom S or maybe top A. But in comp, I do think maybe she falls out or maybe towards the bottom of the best top 10 killers, because there's just a lot less that you can work with now with post-nerf Spirit.
Absolutely. You kind of you have to play your trump card, right? And Spirit used to be that trump card. Why not play her now? Get as much value as you can instead of you know, have that decrease of value in the later weeks.
No, 100%. But that being said, we are moving into game number 1 with Cerebral Assassins as the killer, and we are seeing the Pyramid Head.
Ooh, love me some Pyramid Head. This is gonna be a lot of fun. I miss old Pyramid Head though. I don't know about you, Giltspire.
When you say old Pyramid Head, are you talking about like the M2 to M1 fake? Or are you talking about the non-broken animation Pyramid Head right now?
Honestly, the non-broken was actually my favorite. Not gonna lie to you.
That's fair, that's fair. Yeah, right now, so for those who aren't aware, right now the animation for Pyramid Head is actually broken on his M2, so it doesn't sync with the actual timing of his M2. It's still the same timing, just the animation's broken. But I will say the pre-nerf Pyramid Head was pretty nice, just being able to fake the M2 into the M1 almost immediately. It's almost like what Deathslinger was prior, and now Deathslinger's almost been nerfed in the same way that Pyramid Head was, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Not having to scope out was a beauty with Deathslinger, and that being removed is going to hurt him just a little bit.
And I definitely agree with that. But that being said, we do see some really early chases here, but Pyramid Head just not able to capitalize. And we see there, Nia does get that heal off right before Pyramid Head's able to get them within striking distance. So this is going to be another longer chase that we see here. An attempted corner tech by Nia, but Pyramid Head ain't falling for it.
Absolutely not. I did like that heal. That was a very clutch heal. I did not think they were going to have it, and we got it down now.
Yeah, it was definitely risky. I think if they had been on top of that any sooner, it would have resulted in a M2 double hit, potentially getting it down there as well. But really good timing by the team. And I will note that a totem did get cleansed off in the distance while we were looking around here. So that does mean that, you know, Ruin has been dispatched pretty early.
There's nothing more soul-crushing than having your Ruin gone in the first 2 minutes of the game, Giltspire.
It's true, and that's where I mention it all the time, but I really do question whether or not totems are going to fall out of favor as time goes on, where, you know, comp teams especially learn every single totem spawn. They practice all of the RNG. They use things like small game and send one survivor to, you know, really ensure that they're able to get rid of those totems as soon as possible. And Ooh, that is a punishing miss there by Pyramid Head, not able to make that connect.
Oh.
Beautiful double hit, though, and this could be huge snowball potential. And looks like Pyramid Head is not going to be deterred by that flashbang and does get both survivors down.
That right there was actually a really clutch play by our Pyramid Head. Being able to get two hits for the price of one, Giltspire. You don't get that in many places.
I mean, that's one of the biggest things. We see people, obviously, I think in comp, especially in this league, we're seeing more and more teams really focusing in on body blocks now. But in doing so, you do run the risk of those type of situations. And Pyramid Head is running away with this pressure here. You know, not even going for the Meg, who was down on the ground during that time, just opting to go for the slug and really slowing down these survivors, trying to get these rapid succession hooks, basically, and just trying to close out this game early.
So you're seeing a lot of pressure by our Pyramid Head. I mean, Osaka has shown in the last, 3-4 games that he's able to do this, so well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was surprised just to see Pyramid Head in general due to the fact that animation broken. Personally, for me, I'm a bit more visual when it comes to my timing. So the animation broken for me was a, good old, I don't think I'm gonna play Pyramid Head up until he gets fixed, which is the 19th, thankfully. But, disregarding that, Osaka seems to be doing just fine and playing excellently.
Absolutely. I'm surprised to see after Ruin was cleansed that the gens, have not been popping up.
Yeah, no real progress whatsoever on these totems here, or gens here, and that's gonna be really good for Osaka, who does have Pop Goes the Weasel and is getting some good regression. But I will note that right now he's going after Meg. I think he should disengage because if we look at the UI, we see that every survivor is currently injured, which means underneath that hook, there is 2 injured survivors probably healing as we speak.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Going back to hook, I think would have been the play I would have gone for as well.
Yeah, there's just so much free pressure here. I will mention that we did see a gen pop off next to that hook, so it's definitely the survivors taking their time before healing and definitely prioritizing those gens, trying to get some pressure going here because they already have a survivor on death hook as we speak. Right now, 1 hook on Ace, 1 hook on Nia, and 2 hooks on the Claudette Techno Badger. So we'll have to wait and see what type of pressure that these survivors are able to apply, and if they're able to keep up with the Pyramid Head and the amount of hooks that they're putting down right now.
Yeah, right now, the best strategy for our survivors is really to just try to get the Pyramid Head out of that hook, because they do not, the Pyramid Head wants to stay around. Like, that's their goal in life right now.
Yeah, no. And, if we're kind of looking here and looking at what gen progress has been done or what gens have been completed, I will say survivors have been doing a really good job of ensuring that these middle gens over here have been done first, as we mainly see 1, if not 2 gens left. But beautiful hits with those M2s and getting the ace down. That'll now be the 2nd survivor on death hook. Is the ace currently tormented? I mean, that's a basically DS ignore. Though I would question, maybe in some cases I may have actually caged him, knowing that he would go into one of the 2 pockets and basically threatened and said, hey, survivors, unhook him, I dare you.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Even though, I mean, right now, this is a really good game. Those M2s are making me jealous, Giltspire.
No, I love Pyramid Head. He is honestly such a fun comp killer, and just a fun killer in general. Prior to the animation break, which, as Sergeant Fidget has mentioned, is right now if the animation bug, you really have to rely on that muscle memory. I loved going with M2 only games on Pyramid Head. They were very satisfying, very fun to practice, and overall just great usage to bait out the survivors on those pallets, force them not to drop, go through, go for the M1, or even the M2 as we saw against that ace earlier. And so overall, really great play, and I think that's probably one of our first misses that we've seen Osaka takes thus far.
Absolutely. Techno with a little bit of a patience and being able to juke Osaka out.
And good attempt there to try and get the M1 over that pallet, but unfortunately the timing just a little bit off, and Techno going for the vault and dodges just narrowly. Great job there, realizing that based on the angle that the pyramid was at, they were not going to be able to hit them on the left-hand side.
right now, extending that chase by a couple of seconds, which really helped out his team to reset.
Unfortunately for Techno, though, that will be their final judgment, and they will be out of the game. And one survivor out on 3 gens left, that is huge. The only downside of this moment, though, is the fact that we see that gen almost finish. There will be no Pop Goes the Weasel available for Pyramid Head.
And that's the one horrible thing about Final Judgment is, unfortunately, Pop kind of goes bye-bye.
Yeah, that's my only reason why sometimes I feel like in those scenarios it is better to cage the survivor on second stage. That way you can get Pop on the third, but you still have that same issue at times as well. So there is a give and take. I do want to mention here, Meg has not been hooked as of yet, so honestly, this is probably the worst chase that Osaka could take as of this moment, as they really do want to find the ace and try and kill them out as soon as possible.
No, I agree with you on that one, Giltspire. Really find the ace, get them out of the game, and make this an even better situation for a Pyramid Head. But yeah, I'm glad that the hit happened and then they left.
Yeah, I think just getting that hit, applying some pressure, and potentially getting survivors off of gens is huge. And Nia experiencing firsthand why Pyramid Head's a little bit ridiculous on those pallets. You can get those stuns, but even if hit validation, it doesn't matter, because if you're able to pop off that M2 prior to it, you're able to still get that hit. And really, it's kind of like playing against this Deathslinger in that moment. You take a hit no matter what.
Yeah, that hit was wild, man. I did not think that was going to be pulled off.
Yeah, it's kind of like how Pig could do that with Ambush. Pyramid Head can do the same with their M2. It is just really, really lethal and really hard to dodge. And as a Pyramid Head, you kind of know that, and sometimes you take those risks. And as we see here with Osaka, it's paying off. At the same time, we see that last gen done, so he has to now question, do I just secure this kill, or do I try and go for Meg? Honestly, if I'm kind of in this scenario, I think I go for the Meg at this moment and try and get the hook plus 2 additional stages, right? And try and get as many points as possible while reducing the amount of points that these survivors can get.
So, and you kind of have to think, like, they've already opened the gate, so do they end up just leaving?
Yeah, it does seem to be the case, so looks like we're going to secure that last kill. And so, overall, not a bad game. I mean, that is still 8 states in total. So we are looking at a total of 29 points to IA Survivor Team and 31 points to Cerebral Assassin's Executioner. So, really close game at the end of all that. Didn't really gain any distance one way or another, so it's now going to come down to IA to determine if they're going to be able to take a lead or if Cerebral Assassins will take the lead instead on the Green Storehouse.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. Game 2's, you got a new killer. You gotta think, like, what do you have to do, right? What killer do you bring to kind of get yourself a lead, or what kind of gameplay are you gonna, what comms, what things are you gonna get as a Survivor team to kind of mimic what just happened?
Yeah, no, that is a fair point. I mean, Green Storehouse is 100% a killer-sided, or a survivor-sided map. So it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to bring to the table here. And if they decide to maybe shake it up as, Domo and I discussed earlier. This map is really good for mobility-based killers, so maybe we see a Wraith, maybe we see a Spirit, as you mentioned earlier, trying to burn those Spirits early, might be the play.
Yeah, I loved that Wraith game. That was a lot of fun to watch. You can bring a killer like that and have great success, and that's where, what do you do? You have to think about this really hard.
Yeah, it is an interesting question. I'll say after scrimming on Green Storehouse, I do understand now why people are a little bit more skittish around that map from Killer's side. It is very strong, especially with that main building being a huge blocker for that main area. It makes it very hard to patrol those middle gens.
Absolutely, super hard to patrol the middle gens. I don't know, what would you bring here, Giltspire?
I think here, honestly, I would probably be looking at the Wraith, looking at Spirit, maybe even a Nurse, would probably be the best course of action.
Oh, a Nurse would be fun to watch as well. That would Nurse, Spirit, your great killers as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, Nurse I think would be a good option as long as you feel comfortable on her and feel like you're going to be able to guarantee that, 4K. I think Nurse would be a beneficial choice here. Whereas Spirit, I think, could also be a great option, though I will say we did see in the Sample Text versus Prestige match where Spirit did lose a lot of value if playing around them well. So depending on how Cerebral Assassins feels against Nurse, maybe Spirit might not be the right choice.
Yeah, I am looking forward to seeing that or what happens though, because if you bring a Spirit, can you get a lot of pressure at the start, right? Because right now, we're looking at IMA and they really were able to put a lot of pressure on our killer and just pop those gens off, so.
And absolutely. But that being said, as a reminder, we do have Immortal Alliance as killer this time around on Groaning Storehouse. And we are currently getting builds in as we speak. And so far, everything is looking good to go. So, what are your thoughts? What's your bet as of this moment?
Honestly, I'd love to see a Wraith. You don't want to burn. I mean, a Wraith or a Spirit would be good. If you're IMA, you're trying to get a lead. You're trying to set up game 3 to be that, like, end-all, be-all kind of game. And that's what we've been seeing a lot of, right? Is just that third game be the big difference, whether it's gets you the win or it gets you closer to that win, or on the other side, it just leaves you dead in the mud, And so I think game 2 really sets up for that. If you're a killer, if you're IMA, to kind of go for the throat and go, okay, you know what? Let's set up game 3 to be a great game for us and leave Cerebral Assassins away. Don't get as many points as they should have.
Yeah, no, I think you're right in that, especially with that first game being so close. Normally we see game 3 being the turning factor, but game 1 being as close as it was, I think it now moves to game 2, where, whoever gets that lead first is really going to be the team to, line themselves up for the win come game 4, because you still have that team to have the ability to answer back on Family Estate in game 3, and then if, let's say, IA is able to get a good win here, they're able to get a good win in game 3, that kind of closes it out going into game 4. So they kind of need back-to-back wins here, where if they see back-to-back losses, or even if they see the games staying as close as they are, it will make it a very interesting series for sure.
Absolutely, and not only does that add up points, but that does something to you mentally, right? Because now you're backpedaling. Now you're going, okay, we just lost 2 games, we just did all this stuff. Like, what's next? And it puts a lot of pressure on your team.
It really does, and especially on the killer side, especially when we're looking at Groaning Storehouse now, it really does come down to IA to at least get that 2K6 hook, I think. I think that is, at the very least, what they're going to be looking for here as they do move into Game 2. And I think that's overall what killers should be looking for. Give or take, is they should be looking for that 2K6 hook on these more difficult maps. Whereas if you can get a little bit more value, whether that be, some additional hooks thereafter, or even the 3K, then even better. That kind of really sets up your team for success going into game 3.
So you can get a 3K out of this map, like, more power to you. That's awesome. You set up a beautiful game 3 for your team. And yeah, you like hugs and backpats for that person.
Exactly, but that being said, we are moving into game 2 on Groaning Storehouse, and we see the Twins.
My goodness, bringing Victor out real quick right now.
Yeah, and I'll mention, Twins wasn't on my radar immediately because when I think about them, I don't think initially mobility killer, but at the same time, Victor being 150 speed base kit, I mean, you're as fast as the Wraith, so it does make a lot of sense to me to bring Twins in this scenario, kind of stake your claim on the middle area, and, just bring out Victor as necessary, get those injuries, get those downs. So, makes sense for me to bring Twins in this scenario.
Yeah, and reading the mind of IMA, they were looking for, like you were saying, mobility and also being able to still roam around. So really good killer to bring.
And we do see here that looks like Cerebral Assassins is, making the choice to hold Victor hostage, not giving Victor to them freely, which is the smart play all up. Does mean that there's one survivor off of gens all the while, And at this point, it's been 45 seconds, so Twins can recall Victor at their leisure, but seemingly choosing not to. I'm kind of surprised, especially after that hit on the Claudette, to not, you know, return Victor and then potentially go for the down on Claude.
Yeah, it's a little surprising because, you know, you get Victor back, you can take Claudette down easily and create a lot of pressure for a Survivor team. So Victor's still not coming out.
Exactly, but we do see Victor back in the hands of the Twins, and now they're trying to play around this pallet here, and looks like Nancy's trying to take maybe a body block, and she does successfully catch Victor mid-pounce. And overall, a good heads-up play there to try and extend chase and reduce some of the value that the Twins were to otherwise get in that moment.
Yeah, what a nice body block by Nancy, and it might, wow, this chase is just keep on going.
Yeah, I mean, this is the way to play against Twins. Play in pairs, reduce value, take Victor hostage for 45 seconds at a time. I mean, that reduces the Twins to an M1 killer. And at this point, we're still not seeing Twins here recall Victor when that timer does expire. And I think that is a huge mistake, as they are really losing out on their main power.
Absolutely, Victor being able to really be the Louisville Slugger and not being able to call into action, it kind of hurts real bad right now.
Exactly. I mean, you see a cheeky little blind there over the pallet. That was from a pretty far distance, too, and though they don't gain much distance, they at least did confuse the Twins for a moment there. And we do see Kate here, and we see 3 survivors injured. This is a dangerous position for these survivors to be in, to have this many people injured, so I do feel they do need to reset. Otherwise, they do risk a potential 3-man slug in this moment.
Right, that's what we're talking about. If we would have seen Victor come out earlier, I feel like we could have had an even more dangerous situation with 3 people hurt right now.
And I will mention, I kind of would have loved to have seen Kate jump into a locker there, knowing how far away the Twins were. I think that would have been a smart play, because then you could have sat in the locker and Twins would have had to choose, okay, do I go for the locker play, or do I go for, you know, another gen, as we see there? So I think overall, the smart play there would have been jump in the locker, have Victor try and grab you, and then, you know, you just ensure that they're not able to get any value whatsoever.
For a second, I thought they were going to go into locker, and they did not.
Yeah, it was surprising. I thought that was the exact same thing. Like, okay, they have a locker, they have enough distance, so it's 10 seconds away. You got this. And then they did. I'm like, huh, okay, interesting. What's the play?
Right, and that was very interesting, because I really thought the locker play would have actually helped out, because you're right. Having had to have Charlie come all the way to the other side of the map to get the locker, yeah, that would have been honestly a more waste of time for the killer.
Yeah, not just as a waste of time to cross the map, but it gives your survivors time to be on gens, to heal, for you to even get out of the locker if it's more than 10 seconds to get there. So, you know, really huge plays, and I think that a lot of survivors do forget about that fact more often than not, and maybe survivors just need to kind of keep that in the back of their mind in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, and honestly, right now, our Survivor team still has a lot. Oh, nice hit on Jacoby right now, though.
They do have a lot of good value going for them still, but this moment here could be the determining factor, as we do see now all 4 survivors either injured or on hook. And so this is going to be kind of one of those moments where I think this determines the result of the match. If these survivors are able to reset, if these survivors are able to avoid getting another down in quick succession for the Twins, I think they will be able to bring this to victory. But the Twins is able to capitalize off this moment, I think it's game over.
Yeah, if our Twins player is able to capitalize right now, it is game over for Silver Assassins. And right now, good chase going on. Victor still not being taken out. This is very interesting play.
Yeah, I think here this chase gives them the time to reset, to heal. We even see Steve over there healing out in the open on that pallet. And I don't know what's going on, but these survivors are just choosing not to heal as often as I think they would. They're on gens, especially if Ruin, where if you get, you know, found on a gen, A, you're getting pushed off it, but B, you're injured. You are at risk. So I am really surprised to see them playing this aggressively.
Me too, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that Victor hasn't come out as much that they gives them a little bit more confidence. Not sure though.
Yeah, it definitely is an interesting decision. We see Nancy once again trying to come in for this body block, and though Victor does not pounce on her, it does result in Nancy diverting Victor and then getting the kick. So overall, really interesting plays of choosing to basically take pounces for your Survivor team, and it's working out well for them.
Yeah, right now our Survivor team is really putting a hurt on his twins. Victor is about to come out and play soon, I hope.
No, it looks like they're opting to go for a fresh chase. Maybe they're thinking in the back of their head, okay, the Survivors have been playing well. I think I need to go for a 4-man slug or maybe a 3-man slug and snowball out at this point. Maybe that's the thought process there.
What a cheeky fake right there by Jacoby. Did you see that, Giltspire?
Yeah, they did pretty well. Obviously, got the first fake, but not the second, and I'm starting to feel like the Twins is not confident in their ability with Victor at this point, as they're not bringing them out, and once again, another cheeky dodge. Some really good fakes going on here, and the Twins just, I think, getting more and more impatient, as they are just not able to get these downs the way they want.
Absolutely, and at this point, you know, you kind of have to bring out your secret weapon. That's Victor, right? And just say, you know what, you guys fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Especially if 4 Survivors injured now. Like, now's the time to bring out Victor, and they finally do, because this could result in that 4-man slug if they play it right.
Oh, yeah, and wow. Staying on that jam.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they got a little bit confused by the Survivors' play, and they end up missing the pounce. You know, all the while, we're seeing this back and forth between the Survivors and the Killer, but no gens have been popping off, so at the same time, you know, I'm kind of sitting here, if I was the Twins, I'd still be feeling a little bit comfortable, where Ruin's still up, they're off of gens because they're injured a lot. If they're not off of gens, they're on the ground like the Kate will be here. And, you know, it is allowing them to get a lot of gen regression in these moments.
Yeah, I mean, you combine Ruin with Victor, and mistakes can easily go away, right? You no longer have to worry about them because the gens regress and you can get people down. But right there, that hurts.
And even more so is when the Survivors are able to kick the Vic, but Kate has been the only Survivor on hook, and she is down once again, so she'll get moved on to second hook and is now at risk of going on to death hook if the Survivors do not play smart. But finally, we do hear that totem pop, and that there is Ruin. It does look like the Twins does have pop at their disposal.
Yeah, so with Ruin going down, this is where you start seeing the gens quickly get done, and you got to get Victor out. You still have Osaka deferred. I would try to go for Osaka this time.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing the smart thing here. They're proxying the hook, trying to keep an eye on the gens that are nearby. But now they need to definitely look for Osaka, get the slug, potentially get the hook. But they can force this down, that'd be excellent, but doesn't look like they can. And now we do hear another gen pop off, and unfortunately, Victor clipping with that tree and not able to get the pounce on the Claudette for another injure.
It almost felt like he was trying to avoid the body block on that one. I don't know, was that correct?
I think so, and I think once again, you know, what's really interesting, you don't see it often, is that these Survivors taking those body blocks on Victor is just really smart because you get to steal Victor for 45 seconds. You know, you don't crush him right away. You take Victor, take him away, and now the Twins have to make a choice. Do I commit to the chase? Do I leave Victor on them? Which I do like the idea of leaving Victor on for 45 seconds because that's 45 seconds with one Survivor off of gens. So if you are in another chase, then that gives you a lot of additional time to work with. But unfortunately, it just has not been working out in the Twins' favor.
Yeah, having Victor on your back for 45 seconds, like you said, just it leaves you as a Twin player kind of like not being able to use anything. Your more special power.
But like I said, there's that trade-off to where that's also a Survivor off of gens for that same amount of time. So there's that give and take where you have to question, okay, what's the better value? The fact that they don't have Victor or the fact that they don't have the ability to work on gens? But really good prediction there of where the Claudette was going to go and the quick successive down. So a little 1-2 punch, and we'll see if they go for the pickup. And we see Victor kick in that moment. We see two Survivors trying to pick up Claude, but to no avail. And looks like the Twins will get the pickup and the subsequent hook.
That was a very close heel. I had thought they were gonna have it. Good stuff by Twin players to recognize what they were trying to do.
Yeah, I even saw the Twins pause for a moment and go, okay, I want to switch back to Victor, but it's a little bit too late as they're already middle of kicking the Vic.
Yeah, I saw that pause too, and I said, "Oh my goodness! Oh, I'm glad you didn't go back to Vic. Let's go."
Yeah, all the while, we do see that 4th gen pop off now. So, Twins is definitely in a world of hurt with only 3 hooks, and Kate the only one being on death hook at this moment. So, those Virus play smart, and I think they are. We're going to see a very difficult endgame for the Twins, though I will say the last 3 gens are those that are towards this middle area, which is a little bit surprising. Normally, you want to get and break this, I would not say really 3 gen, but a loose 3 gen. Early on, but looks like they got those pockets earlier than I would have expected.
Right, and this is, I mean, a lose 3 gen for Victor is still a world of hurt, and being able to keep Charlotte right next to that gen is beautiful, because now you kind of can almost camp that gen and try to go after Scuba Steve.
Yeah, though I will say, you know, if you're kind of looking at that situation, this is kind of a moment where maybe taking Victor hostage is a good thing. Because think about it now. You have one survivor off of gens for 45 seconds. Victor's away, though, during that time. That leaves your last 3 survivors to split up on gens and just kind of divert the attention of the Twins. I bet we see that the gen over here, which was regressing, no longer regressing, probably because a survivor was on it all the while.
Yeah, absolutely. End game. There we see Steve over there still. End game is honestly good stuff to keep Victor and just put him on your back.
Yeah, I am surprised, though, that the person on that gen there was the Claudette, as we now see her out in the open and trying to gain some distance here, but the Twins not swinging at the dead hard, and does get the down, and now that does mean that Claudette and Kate are now on death hook, and with this hook being in that 3-gen area, it's going to be very hard to recover. So it's going to come down to the survivors playing smart and playing well to try and ensure that they can get value where value is needed. Otherwise, I think they may have risked losing this match, though there is that gen there on 4 cylinders. So they're getting quite close to closing this one out.
Yeah, and like you said, though, with Jacoby on hook, I was not expecting Jacoby working on that last gen over there. You know, it all comes down to the smart plays of right now. You know, if can Survivor team get these gens done, and what's going to happen? Did they go for wow? They're going for the on hook right now.
I think that might be a smart play here because once, as we mentioned before, if you lose 1 survivor, that's 12 points. So maybe they trade here, and I'm assuming that maybe Osaka has Deliverance, as that was a very aggressive unhook, so would make sense to me if we see a Deliverance play here, especially if the survivors, let's say, on this last gen, which they are indeed. I think they're just going to force it out, take the hits, and get that last generator. We see the Deliverance from Osaka. We see the commitment to the gen by Scuba Steve. And the Twins are now in a world of hurt as Scuba Steve trying to get to middle here and to the pre-down pallets, but looking like this might result in a down nonetheless.
That was the right play to have Scuba Steve do that gen, though.
No, I agree 100%. I was kind of surprised not to see Adrenaline on Steve. I've loved seeing those Adrenaline plays. The last gen, you force it out, you take the hit, and then you just Adrenaline away and kind of leaves the killer going there. Well, crap, what do I do now? So I was surprised and almost hopeful for it to happen. But now the Saurus have to ask themselves a question. Do we just get the 3-man out with 6 hooks as of this moment and allow Scuba Steve to progress twice? Or do we try and get the 4-man out instead? The only thing about Twins is that they are able to apply that Blood Warden-like effect, so if they're not able to get Victor off their back, you know, they aren't able to escape with him there.
Right, at this time, if you're CA, this is a win, you know? I would just do your gates and leave.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you on that one. I think Scuba Steve has called that out too, as we do see him trying to Kobe off to no avail. And that will be the 3-man out. So overall, not bad here. But once again, really, really close match. And so that is 38 points to Cerebral Assassin Survivor Team and 30 points for Immortal Alliance. So that's only an 8-point difference. And that now results in Immortal Alliance at 59 points and Cerebral Assassins at 69. So it's only a 10-point match going to Game 3. I'd be willing to bet that this is probably one of our closest matches that we have seen in a long while.
Honestly, this happened last week too. You know, you had a 10-point match with Cerebral Assassins. Man, it always comes down now to game three, right? What happens next? A 10-point match. This is too close to call on the either side right now.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So, I mean, before game three is normally the deciding factor, but I think it just comes down to the wire because even if, let's say, you know, with Immortal Lions currently being down by 10 points, if they win this, then Cerebral Silence still has an ability to answer. So, going to be really interesting to see how close this ends up being.
Right, and who's killing next?
Looks like it'll be Immortal Lions again with Techno as the killer. So
Okay.
it's going to be interesting to see what they bring on Yamaoka. And we kind of talked about it before in the ST versus Prestige match where Spirit sounds like a really good killer in this scenario, as they do have a lot of environmental environmental knowledge or information that they can gather off the bamboo, off the grass, where it's a little bit longer, a little bit more dense in comparison to, like, Macmillan. So I foresee maybe a Spirit play here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Spirit is her strongest in her home. This is the match, right? If you're Techno, you're Immortal Alliance, you're only down 10. That's nothing. But what you want to set yourself up for in game 4 is to have a big enough lead to put a lot more pressure on Cerebral Assassins. And so bringing Spirit out lets you do that.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we see an S tier killer here. I think that they really can't, you know, go easy here, as we've seen. I think they need to bring out someone who's going to give them a lead, who's going to be able to get a 4K at, you know, 1, 2, 3 gens. Let's try and get that lead, because if we see a similar, you know, showing from Cerebral Assassins, then it could result in a situation to where that 10 points becomes 20 points, and becomes 20 points, it's gonna be even harder for them in game 4 to come back on Survivor side. So I think it's very likely we see a S tier killer here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. You know, that's the thing. You don't want to give this Survivor team a lead. You know, coming up, they're gonna kill in the 4th round. Are you kidding me? You want to get as many points as you can. You want to set up that 4th game to be in your favor. Don't have it close. You know, don't 15, 20 point game. No, this is all about getting points. And like I said, if I don't see Spirit, it'll be interesting to see who else is brought. But I would love to see a Spirit right now and get as many points.
I'm trying to think. So we know that Immortal Lions cannot bring Oni. They've already burned the Oni. So I think Spirit Wraith might be a good choice. I think because Family Estate is not a big map if you're looking at square tile. But if you're looking at the shape of the map, it's very rectangular. So it's very much long than it is wide. And so I think you do need a mobility killer. So I'm thinking maybe Spirit, maybe Wraith. Some people are going to be on this one with Blight. I personally don't like Blight on this map because a lot of the trees have 0 collision from when you come from a certain angle. So I think maybe Blight could be a risky choice, though Blight's not outside the conversation, I'd say.
No, I'm with you on that. I love Blight. I love watching Blight do its thing, but in this map, I'm sticking with. I mean, like you said, it's a smaller map, right? Tile-wise, so I'm sticking with a mobility killer like a Spirit or a Nurse. You know, being able to just go everywhere at once. I mean, this map even. I wouldn't have been surprised to see a Twins actually on this map. You know?
Well, Immortal Lions already ran Twins, so they're not going to bring Twins
anymore.
again. However, Cerebral Assassins, I could definitely argue that.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, you never know, but I don't know. I have a feeling it might just be Spirit.
Yeah, I think Spirit is definitely very likely here. With that being said, we are just about readied up. We're waiting on Scuba Steve, as looks like when the entity took them back to the fire, they also had to restart the game. So waiting for them here in just a moment. But while we're waiting, let's talk about some things that we have already heard with the PTB to live. But before we do, I see some people asking about the score. Right now it's a 10-point difference, 59 points to Immortal Lions, 69 points to Cerebral Assassins. So a 10-point difference, really close game going into game 3. But talking about the PTB changes, Boon Totems. Boon totems built to last. Looks like they haven't changed much, at least based on information that we've received so far. Do you think that boon totems are still too strong? In my opinion, the answer is yes. What about you?
Yeah, I think they're still so strong, but it's also going to be interesting to see how our survivors use them, right? Like, I, the, the first couple of weeks of the patch going live will be interesting as someone who plays killer. I'm not even sure that everybody knows fully well how it's going to work. You know how people are going to use boon totems. I just wish I could just break totems.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Hold on one second, though. Looks like we're having some lobby issues. You know, I wouldn't be Dead by Daylight without lobby issues. I just want to check everything real quick and see if a good old-fashioned lobby bug is happening. Scuba Steve is on PC, so no, there's no lobby bugs that I know of that. So let's reset the lobby, unfortunately. So let Techno know. It is unfortunate, but want to be Dead by Daylight without a bug here and there.
That's true, but we always blame it on Steam.
Well, normally when I see this, when someone attempts to join but then gets kicked out and yeah, immediately, to me that kind of screams, oh hey, maybe they're on console, because there's a very common lobby bug when two people are on the same platform of console and they don't have each other as friends. You have to, you know, basically have each other added at all times. It's kind of stupid how that works, but it is a thing. So
or they could just become friends. How about that, guys? Be friendly.
True. You know, that would be an option. But we'll be resetting the lobby. It'll take a few minutes to do so. So I think you're right in saying, though, with boon totems, that I would love to see that when a killer gets rid of the boon totem, that it breaks the totem. I think that is the smart thing, because at the end of the day, I think that the time benefit you can get is pretty significant in the grand scheme of things. You spend 16 seconds on a dull totem for something like Circle of Healing. And then as long as 2 survivors heal in that Circle of Healing, you basically get a time benefit. You don't lose out on time. Whereas, you know, if the killer is able to break it, and then they need to reapply it somewhere else, maybe somewhere that's less safe, that'd make a lot more sense. But I think as is, I think that Circle of Healing and probably just boon totems in general will probably get banned from COTF.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty big additions, right, to Dead by Daylight, and I don't see any team without it, like on pubs or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think, you know, if your formats with one person brings that, no questions asked, because just the ability to be reapplied constantly is just so strong. But then also looking at Built to Last, I've ran the numbers, and based on what we're looking at Season 2, we're going to make it so that add-ons on items are yellow and below going forward. So when I look at Built to Last in pubs, I look at how ridiculous it is on things like Commodious Toolbox with the charge add-ons. Like, it is ridiculous of the time benefit that you get from that toolbox. When it comes to the comp, though, with yellow toolbox and yellow add-ons, it's not that bad. However, medkits gets you an additional 4 heals. So you can get full 8 heals with medkits, and that is just with self-care and body knowledge and Built to Last, not including if you wanted to run, you know, streetwise as well. So Built to Last still looking a little bit too strong. And also, to answer your question in chat, it is 24 seconds, at least based on how it's read, 24 seconds when you apply a blessing to a hex, a lit hex. So if you ruins in front of you and you go to bless it, it's going to take 24 seconds instead of 16. So it'll be faster for you to break the totem than it is for you to bless it. However, dull totems, based on what it's reading like, is going to take 16 still. So still pretty significant time investment but still not enough to deter the amount of benefit that you can get from it.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. Like you said, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with if they nerf him again, or if something happens. That really the quick thing to do is just let us break him as a killer, right?
Yeah, I think that's the main thing that behavior would be able to make the decision on. So it'll be interesting to say, but I think this is the first time that we've seen a perk be released alive, and for us to be able to say with certainty, this is now a new meta perk. Like, what's the last perk that we've seen? Was it, so we have, let's see, Deliverance? What, is Deliverance the oldest at this point? That is meta?
Yeah, for Survivor side.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is a game changer, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty significant in the grand scheme of things. Like, I didn't think about that until just now, but it really is the case where this is the first real meta perk that has been added. So it'll be interesting to see if that just rises to the top. I think in Swift, bringing one makes a ton of sense. I think in pubs, it's going to be very interesting to how many boon totems you see throughout the match. But with that being said, we are on game number 3. And surprisingly enough, even though, like I said, I had my reservations about it, we do see a Blight.
Absolutely. We'll see if our Blight can bounce off of things right now. And,
like I said, those trees, if you come at them from a certain angle, they just don't allow you to bounce.
Yeah, and we saw it right there, and it's going to keep happening. So, Blight's still a very strong choice. It's just about our pressure.
And once again, this is a very weak palette, but Claudette playing it really well. And Nancy coming in for a potential body block, but unfortunately missing it. And Claudette does dead hard, but not able to make it to that pallet. So great attempt and great patience on the Blight to ensure the down rather than going for that body block hit. Otherwise, Claudette would have gotten that pallet and she would have gotten far away.
Absolutely. That right there was a very risky play. I almost thought they had that body block. And if they had that, like you said, that would have been so much more time wasted.
I agree, and we do see some aura reading from the Blight here from their add-ons. We'll see how significant that becomes, but interesting enough, Nancy going for the unhook. I'm thinking once again we see Osaka with maybe a Deliverance play, as they are opting to go for that without any hesitation. And we do see Tinker go off. Now Blight has to make a choice. Do they commit to the chase or they go for the gen? And looks like they're just opting to try and get Claudette down as soon as possible.
Oh, what? Ooh, wow, that dead hard did not save our Claudette at all.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I would argue that maybe dead harding towards the Blight there may have been the play. But Cerebral Assassin's in a very dangerous spot here, as we now see 3 survivors down the ground. They need to get some people up ASAP and healed, otherwise they do risk losing this at 1 gen completed.
Yeah, and at this point, as our killer, you kind of have to go, okay, Scenic is probably going to come, oh yeah, right there, next to our survivors.
Yeah, and those add-ons coming up in clutch because they're able to get that aura reading. I don't think that is even purposeful, just kind of a spot where they're going, okay, we can do a quick, quick bounce here and then go for the Nancy. But now that's all 4 survivors on the ground, so it's going to come down to a Kobe from Scuba Steve. Not even Deliverance there. So that does bring these survivors back into the match, and we see Jacoby back up off the hook, or off the ground as well. So this is huge. This could be a big recovery for Cerebral Assassins.
Holy smokes, the Kobe just changed the game around.
Yeah, it really did. So now Blight has to kind of recover here, and we once again see that slide off that geometry. It's not able to make use of their bounces as they're looking to do, but does find the gate and narrowly missing them on that Blighted Rush.
At this point, Giltspire, if you're Cerebral Assassins, you want to reset, right? You
Oh, 110%.
Yeah, you don't want to take any more hits. You want to reset and give yourselves the best. There we go. We got Steve. already on a gen, though. Wow.
Yeah, we got Steve healed, but, you know, off in the distance, there's Tinkerer. And now Blight's making his way over there, but 0 charges in hand. So a lot of good distance can be gained from these survivors. And like I said, Osaka with that deliverance. So, you know, this gives Cerebral Assassins a chance to correct their mistakes and get back into the match. And as we see Claudette over there in that tile, I get a feeling that she's also called out that Ruined Totem right there. So, huge bit of information. Claudette's the dead hard, but unfortunately getting caught on the pallet.
Oh no, that's like the worst thing to do as to have done to you as a survivor is that little pallet getting around the face.
Yeah, that is a punishing thing. We do see Tinker on that gen again as Ruin is still up. Looks like the killer here had Undying to work with and attempting to slide tech, and they get it. Very nicely done. And they are back in chase with the Kate. I mean, Cerebral Assassins has the ability to correct course here, but I don't think they get that vault, and surely enough, Kate does go down. There'll now be 2 survivors on Death Hook as of this moment.
I don't think, you know, that Kate, the best play would be to taunt our Blight by looking back at something like that.
Yeah, I think they're trying to evaluate where Blight was and see if they need to vault in that moment, but obviously it did not work out well for them. We do see Ruin go off, and once again, another Tinker on the distance. Blight now has to make a decision. Do we go for the Tinker or go for the survivors who are supposedly still over here? And looks like they're going to be going towards the Unhook and trying to get some aura readings, see if maybe they can identify where this survivor is.
Yeah, this is a great play to see. You could bait anybody out, but you do lose that, you know, risking losing that gen, which should pop in the next couple seconds.
Yeah, Tinker is off. For those who aren't aware, how it works is that Tinkerer will proc at 56 seconds on the gen. I mean, now you only have 24 seconds as a killer to get there before the survivors will pop it off.
Absolutely. And we see somebody getting off the hook, and oh, here we go.
They're able to get that down on the Kate, and they do get Tinkerer applied back on that gen. That's a really difficult situation to be in, though. You know, Blight taking their time to get that down. They do successfully make it happen. We now have to wonder if Kate might have a decisive strike available to her, but if not, Kate will be out the match.
Right. This run by Scuba Steve was just very impressive against the Blight.
And looks like no decisive strike, so that will be the game for Kate. And that is now 1 survivor down. I will mention, based on the way that they kicked the gen earlier, it does not look like the Blight has any additional gen regression available to them. So when they hit that gen, it's regressing by 0.3% per second, taking 4 seconds to get just 1% off that generator. So, you know, if the survivors are just going to be tapping that gen, they're going to be in a really, really good spot.
They're going to be in a great spot. Oh, nice hit by the Blight. Wow.
Yeah, good swing, but I will say Nancy messing up there, getting caught on that geometry. And once again, Tinker on that gen, that's the 3rd time Tinker has popped off. And Blight now going back, probably going to see Steve bolting off here in just a few seconds.
Yeah, you know what they say. Oh, wow, they were able to get that up. They're dead by angles.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And Steve really forcing out the gen. I get a feeling that maybe he had that toolbox in hand, maybe a build to last available to them.
Yeah, and you're seeing these really great plays by Steve. Really, honestly, all Steve is doing is trying to waste time right now, making sure the rest of our survivors are able to gen.
Yeah, but getting a bit greedy there on that pallet. If you would have thrown that, that'd have been perfect, but unfortunately ends up getting hooked. Now Steve is on Death Hook along with the rest of his team. The only person not is the Nancy, who is Osaka and is still injured at this point in time.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe they were over there in that gen, because very surprising that they were not able to use their Osaka.
100% agree. And we do see Nancy. She sure was on that gen. And I imagine that we're going to see the Steve off a hook here momentarily. But Nancy needs to be careful here on Shaq. Shaq is one of Blight's favorite places to be. I will say that hook being in that position is really hard for a Blight to maneuver around. So great usage of that pallet there. And Nancy's going to be able to get a little bit of distance here. But will it be enough to avoid a hit here? It's yet to be determined. And unfortunately, does not appear to be the case.
No, great moves right now by our Blight. That was all good, like you say, geometry. be able to get Nancy out, and now it gets to the dirty hours. We got 1 gem left, second hook. Let's go.
Yep, everyone's on death hook, so whatever chase Blight takes now is a good chase. I mean, ideally, Steve's being injured, and we do see blood at that gen. That would be the ideal chase. Get that Steve down ASAP. We see scratch marks over here on this tile. The question is, do we see blood, or is this the Claudette?
Yeah, but at this point, yep, it's the Claudette.
And so, with Steve being injured, I don't know if he's going to be able to get that unhook in any real way. And so, it's going to be interesting to see here if they're going to be able to make that happen, or if they're just going to go for the gen, which will grant them an additional 6 points if so. So, we'll have to wait and see what the decision is for Cerebral Assassins. I mean, Osaka at this moment only has 15 seconds left on that hook. So, unless Cerebral Assassins do something soon, and I think this here will be the last time Osaka will be on that hook before being sent back to fire.
Yep, and if we looked at our corner of eyes, we actually saw where Hatch was.
Yep, and we see Tinker as well. And looks like Blight opted to drop the Claudette here. And Steve off the gen we saw there onto the left, and so did Blight. So there is the down, so no 5th gen for Cerebral Assassins.
No 5th gen, and a really smart play picking up Jacoby, and not even maybe the chance of getting that hatch play.
Yeah, indeed. And I also will mention, there, thankfully, the Blight didn't have to worry about anything because we already saw Unbreakable used earlier. One thing that may have gotten overshadowed in the moment was the fact that Unbreakable was actually used in addition to the Kobe. We saw Claudette pick herself up. We saw Steve Kobe off the hook. And so, in total, a lot of good timing, whether accidental or purposeful.
No, yeah, that was a lot of fast-paced stuff, but that Unbreakable play, you don't need it anymore, so absolutely, that was good stuff by our killer.
Agreed, and with that being said, that'll be 14 points for Cerebral Assassins and 47 points to the Blight in Immortal Alliance, resulting in 106 points to Immortal Alliance and 83 points to Cerebral Assassins. So we're looking at, a 23-point match. So if we kind of break this down in this moment, it's going to be a really close match, and I think both teams have a very good chance of winning this.
Absolutely, this is the kind of match that the IMA needed. They kind of separated themselves by getting not just the 4K, but being able to put a lot of pressure on Cerebral Assassins for next game. 21 points is not undoable, but now you got to ask yourselves, okay, what can we do to make up 21 points for our next killer? Yeah, no, exactly. So, with that being said, looks like that one guy D will be the killer for Cerebral Assassins. So, we'll see what Cerebral Assassins brings. What, in your opinion, you see Blight that match. Do you chance to bring another Blight of your own? Do you bring a nurse? What do you think? Well, that's the thing, Giltspire, is you bring Blight, you have to play a perfect game like our killer just did. Right, you have to, and there was times when we saw the killer sliding everywhere still, right? Yep. But they still played a really great game. But you have to play that great game. I think if you are down 21, if you're down, 30 around that range, do you chance that? Do you chance that maybe you'll make mistakes and hopefully you still get the 4K, but you're gonna have to work for it? Or you set yourself up for a win and bring someone like a Spirit or a nurse. I've seen D play nurse a lot. Does he bring a nurse? Yeah, no, I agree. And so looking at the points as they stand right now, it looks like Cerebral Assassins is gonna have to get the 4K. Because even if one survivor getting out and Cerebral Assassins getting a 11 hook match, that still ends the game with 129 to 127. So they're going to have to get a 4K here. And even at 5 gens, if they get let's see, 5 progressions, it ends up in a tie. So it's going to be very, very close, to say the least. Yeah, you're going to have to go for the throat on this one. I mean, I would not be surprised if that one guy D brings Nurse. Um, man, that Blight game was great. I don't know if you go like for like. That's a chance, that's a risk. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. And it's going to be interesting to say the least, and I'm very excited to see what they end up bringing to the table. But, going back to PTB, changes, boon totems, built to last, and so on. Any other thoughts on any other nerfs or buffs? Do you think or expect any other changes made between PTB and Live?
I don't think so. I think you call this good, even though, like we've talked about, we still believe boon totems are, a little bit overpowered, you could say. I think you kind of let this rest for a while, and if you need to make changes, you make it in the next, 2 to 4 months, and leave. I think there's a lot to really go through, right? Not just the nerfs and then the buffs of Trapper and nerf our Girl Spirit, but also you got a lot of add-ons that are going to help out a lot of killers. I'm excited to play Plague in a couple weeks. Giltspire.
Yeah. Plague has gotten a huge buff, I do have to say.
As a Plague main, I love her already. I know I'm gonna love her more now.
Yeah, I mean, I played her in the PTB, and she felt so strong. Just for the sheer fact of that, when you're vomiting on that survivor, you're in their back in that moment, you're not going to lose any distance. You're going to just keep up on them, and if they get broken during that time, and they're not on a pallet or a window at that moment, they're going to be down on the ground before they know it.
Absolutely. A big change from everybody that used to, go against Plague. She's gonna be good. I'm interested to see what's gonna be done with her, even on not just on the public servers, but also if she even shows up on comp. I don't think she's ready yet, but we'll see.
I think come live, I think she is comp viable. I mean, before I kind of placed her in B tier. Some people would argue she was A tier in general. I think she might move up into the top 10 killers because just for the ability to keep on top of the survivors and not give them any distance during the vomit. I think that really does go a long way. So I think it's possible that we do see more Plague usage in comp.
Which I would love. I would love to see more Plague usage in comp. I give her some love. I love some Plague, but yeah. So there's a lot to just get through, and I just think if you try to make more changes, it's just too soon. So I think they take a couple months off and just let things soak, and let us go through it and play the game and see what else we can break for them.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'm so surprised that the built to last is going through. Like, comp is one thing where we get to restrict certain add-ons, certain tools, but like, if I want to, like, if you give me a gen challenge going forward, I hope Behavior understands I'm bringing built to last streetwise with a Commodious toolbox and 2 charge add-ons, and it's going to be like, cool, I'm going to complete these gens faster than a killer can freaking blink.
I'm honestly excited to see that. I know I play killer most of the time, but if I see that happen as playing killer, I will not be disappointed. I will laugh. That stuff is good.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. You get 65 charges between all of those things. And so that's 65 seconds off that gen with that toolbox. And then, why not just prove thyself as well on top of which? Have Spire join you. You will literally complete that gen before you complete your freaking toolbox.
You uncovered something that I don't know everybody knows, and it's gonna be interesting to see how it's played out. And maybe Behavior, I don't even know if they realize that. I hope they do. But can you imagine the first couple of games we have when this is released and gens just fly, and you're just like, okay, well, that was fun.
Well, it's like whenever I saw anyone on Twitter going, built the last isn't that bad, I'm like, are you crazy? Like, everyone's like, yeah, we're talking about medkits, and I looked at freaking toolbox and I'm like, this is insane because I can recharge it 2 times perfectly fine and still gain time. But with that being said, we are on game number 4, and sure enough, we see the spirit for Cerebral Assassins.
Yeah, Spirit over here, before she gets that nerf, is going to be deadly on this map. This is her home map. It is just about, like you said, though, D needs to 4K right, this game. I mean, it's easier said than done, especially against IMA.
Yeah, that is fair. That is fair. So I think this early game is going to really be huge for that one guy, D. We see them kind of going around their corrupt zone. Normally don't see killers doing this, but, being very thorough, checking every bush. And I don't know about you, but I saw that survivor right there. And sure enough, the survivor was fearful and decided to run out. But Spirit not able to catch up on them, as that vault gave them just that much more distance. But Spirit, once again, finding more scratch marks and trying to get this first chase going.
Yes, that was a very close hit right there, and our survivor really did a great job to go back and forth while she was phasing.
Yeah, I think honestly if Spirit would have just continued on the chase without phasing there, she probably would have gotten that hit on the survivor in the bush, but she does end up finding Ace here and is now going for another survivor, the Nia, rather than trying to chase down Ace, trying to get her off this gen early and trying to identify where they went, swinging but not connecting.
Yeah, great chase right now by Nia, being able to bring D right here where really this is a rough spot.
Yeah, overall, great chases thus far, and Nia trying to get out of that tile, but D being keen on that idea and getting the hit. That's 2 survivors injured now, 2 people off of gens for all intent and purpose. We'll have to wait and see if D's able to capitalize on any of these chases thus far.
Absolutely. Oh.
You see the pallet down, and D, once again, playing patiently, taking their time and ensuring to secure the hits.
Yes, and this bodes well for Cerebral Assassins, because seeing D have patience like that shows you that he has that, the composure to understand what the goal is, right, and not freak out, not crumble under pressure.
Absolutely, and we see that phase walk over to this gen and trying to get to the Claudette, but Claudette, taking their time, and we're seeing a similar play by survivors. They're playing this nice and slow. They're ensuring that they're not giving the Spirit out too much information from the scratch marks, and Spirit really being forced to utilize the environmental, and a flashbang or firecracker from Claudette, and Spirit, not knowing which way is up, completely loses the chase.
Smokes, what a smart firecracker right there by Claudette. D just going back to hook. That's, smart play right here.
Yeah, it's kind of what is needed. You want to go back to this hook. I think, honestly, you get it on Meg, but I think you go for Nia here. I think you say, screw it, let's go for the kill. But even still, they opt to go for Meg, and that's another really quick down.
So 2 gens have popped so far, though, so our survivor team still, they're on it right now.
They are, and if I'm D, I'm kind of a little bit concerned here. 1-for-1 on gens the hook is not a great place to be. So I think that you really do need to apply some additional pressure in some way, shape, or form. But so far, nothing being done as of yet.
The thing the survivor team has really done, and one of the things I want to point out, is Meg really took the chase there because all the gens are on the other side.
Yep.
So they help their team out. If they can crank out these gens, it's game over.
Yeah, I think right now, if you're the survivors trying to split these gens, it's definitely going to come into play. And we do see a good find on the Ace and the Claude, but Sprint Burst being used almost perfectly, getting the killer to swing and then gaining some distance on top of which.
Like we were talking about, you've had 2 people over there on that gen. So still, even though great play by the Ace, we still have Claudette over here.
And Claudette, once again, doubling back onto her scratch marks. The survivor's just really playing smart, but D kind of realizing what they're doing and does end up getting the hit. And we do see the vault from the Claudette. Will this be enough? It will not, and Claudette does go down. But I don't know. This is now 1 hook on 3 different survivors. And so D really needs to do something here, reduce resources, and slow down the pressure that these survivors can apply, as we do see Ruin pop off on that gen, probably the Ace we saw earlier.
Absolutely. D has to know now that this survivor team is trying to do these gens on this side. So you don't want to go to the other side.
Yeah, I think you're right in saying stick to the side of the map. Make sure that I are able to split this 3-gen here. I think that is the play. And once again, that one guy D trying to track these scratch marks. Will he be able to get the hit? He does not on the pallet. And probably just going to break and drop chase, maybe move back to Techno, which I think is a play here, as you might want to get Techno back down on the ground and try and get someone onto Death Hook here.
Yeah, it's great. It is the right play, like you said, Giltspire. And look at these survivors on this gen.
Yeah, not wasting any time. I mean, they either have not found Ruin yet, or have determined that they don't want to risk cleansing totems in this moment. Hard to tell which.
Right, and it's getting to that point where, as the generators get done, do you even worry about Ruin at all? Like you said, there might be a chance there's something else happening.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, we do see, I think over time we've seen 3 totems, which normally see, like, Ruin Undying. The question is, what's that 3rd totem? Do we think maybe Haunted Ground? Do we think maybe Devour Hope? We'll find out if it's Devour Hope in a second, as, you know, there are 3 hooks as of this moment. Though we have not heard any tokens being triggered all the while, so probably pretty unlikely for a Devour Hope play.
Oh, nice body block by our ace right there.
Yeah, I was kind of questioning that for a moment, thinking that maybe they may have messed up and sandbagged the ace to take the hit. But, you know, that vault back in probably pushed Ace out of the way and then allowed for him to take the body block for Claudette, though she does end up going down. And this will be 2nd hook for Claudette, but all the while, these survivors are going to be on gens, and those 3 gens on the estate side, they need to be kept by the spirit, lest she does end up losing this match.
Absolutely nice. I feel like this is a good hook, but I feel like they could have gotten to the other, a little bit closer to the other side. I'm not sure, though.
Yeah, I think here they kind of risk, A, they get the unhook, and B, they end up losing that gen, and on top of which, really well timed as both gens pop back to back. So unless the Spirit is able to get the 4K here at the end, things are looking grim for Cerebral Assassins.
And what a beautiful game, really, by a Survivor team, being able to withstand Ruin, not even worry about Ruin at all. Top 2 gens just like that. Wow.
I mean, we're seeing 2 styles of play happen more and more often when it comes to totems. You either see totems pop off in the first 30 seconds, where Ruin gets 0 value, or survivors kind of take their time and don't even risk cleansing, right? Where they just kind of crank through it bit by bit by bit. But these survivors are very well aware that they get 1 person out, they win the match, and that's 3 people. They said, Jolly Dude, see you later. We'll catch you at the campfire, whether you survive or die. And it looks like Jolly Dude will be going down here.
Absolutely. You're not going to risk anything at this point. You just open the gates, leave, which they did. Say GG's, well played.
Indeed, indeed. And with that being said, that results in 144 points for Immortal Alliance and 109 points for Cerebral Assassins. That being said, that there is the win. So congratulations, Immortal Alliance, and GG, well played to Cerebral Assassins.
Absolutely. What a great bunch of games for our 2 teams. Really came down to that game 3 and then game 4. What a beautiful Survivor game. Just withstanding Ruin, keeping their wits about them, and getting everybody out. But really the sacrifice. So.
Yeah, overall, amazing game. So very excited to congratulate Immortal Alliance on their victory. And looking forward to more games from them. They are a newer Survivor team, kind of a satellite branch of Undying Alliance. And overall, playing really well here. So GG, well played all in all. But with that being said, we will be ending the stream here. But before we do have another game later tonight. We will be streaming the match between Monarchy and Regicide at 6 p.m. Or not 6 p.m., sorry, correction. 4 p.m. 4 p.m. CST. So definitely make sure to get back here then about 2 hours and 45 minutes from now, where I'll be joined by, let's see, who is joining me today at 4 p.m. Today I'm being joined by Fire Gems. So definitely make sure to be here, but before we go, Gannicus, if chat wanted to go say hi next time you are live, where would they find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Gannicus 0_0 here on Twitch, Monday through Friday. 8 p.m. bound to center time. Usually I play Killer, Survivors on Friday, of course. But hey, any Plague mains in chat, come see me. Clown mains, come see me. Clown's my fave.
No doubt, no doubt. So yeah, absolutely. Make sure to go check out Gannicus. Really good, good killer main. Really good Dead by Daylight player. Really wholesome dude. And with that being said, I am your primary host and commissioner, Giltspire. I'm an educational Dead by Daylight player, here to teach Ghosts how to play Killer and Survivors how to play against Killer. I'll be live again on Monday at 7 p.m. CST, so make sure to stop on by and say hi then. On that note, we'll see you guys at 4 p.m. CST. Bye-bye!